So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. It really does help when you subscribe. I do put out a video once a day, and I put it out at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which is, if you're in Arizona, that would be 11 o'clock. That's in the winter time, so at 11. Just know that every day I have a video coming. Some of you like to watch it in the morning, so you'll watch it the next morning. Some of you like to watch it right away. Some of you might get home from work and you watch it. Hey y'all, there's coffee if you want some, if you want it, if not, or if you want tea, just, pretend that it's tea. Now you got tea. Well, I promised you I was going to answer a couple more questions, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. This is from Liz Rainey, and she says, watching you from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, mate. I love your videos so much. My health prohibits me from doing this great life that you love. No one seems to go into detail about what happens when you can no longer do living in your van. What are your thoughts about this? Yes, I actually did do a video one time about 2 years ago, I believe. I did a video on this. What happens to aging nomads? What happens to them? So what does happen to them? I have not done major research on this, but I'm going to use logic. And with what I've seen out here, eventually what's going to have to happen is family is going to have to intervene a little bit. They're going to have to. They're going to have to keep tabs on the aging nomad and have a system in place. The thing is, a lot of nomads out here might not be in contact with their family anymore. Or they are, but they're not being truthful to them about how they're really feeling and how they're faring out here in this lifestyle. So it's going to have to come down to nomads. You're going to have to be honest with your family and your friends. You're just going to have to be. Now, let's do a couple different scenarios. Let's say, scenario, there's an aging nomad and they haven't been feeling too well, but they've been keeping inside because it's embarrassing, and they're the freedom, they don't want to lose their freedom, and they don't have the savings or the money to go into an assisted living program, and they don't want to be a burden to their children. So what they do is they keep it to themselves, and they keep it to themselves. Then what happens is they're out boondocking and they fall. Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when there's nobody around? If they have their phone handy, they can call 911. If they don't have their phone handy, they're not going to get help. And what's going to happen? They're going to die. They're just, it's not funny. I'm not laughing about that. But that's the truth. I have to be real honest. I've heard of nomads being alone and falling. They get tripped up in a wire. They get tripped up on something. They're not on good footing any longer. They're losing their balance, which I will say I've given balance exercises before. And I hope that you're still, if you watched them before, I hope you're still doing them. Because balance is one of the most important things for a senior citizen. What happens is, here's the reality. What happens is our calves, we sit all the time. Here's another sign. We sit all the time. We sit. They sit. I don't sit all the time. But you sit. Or if you're a nomad, you're sitting in your car. You're sitting in the front seat. Your back is there. Your butt is here. And then your legs are down. There's no circulation going. And the bottom half of senior citizens' bodies start deteriorating. Well, so does your upper body. But the thing is, the lower body needs to help you walk. Walking, remember walking? Yeah. And that requires what? It requires balance. So you could be walking, trip on a rug, trip on something. Do you ever see an older person? What they do is they sort of take real short little, I've seen it before. They have such bad balance that they take these little shuffle steps, which is fine if that's what you have to do. I'm praying you'll never see me do that when I'm 90 or 100. I plan on being very agile, flexible, with good lower legs. I really do work on my calves because you need them to get up. You have to, that's the problem. If you don't have good calves for all of the activity that you need. So falling is going to be a big deal. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, get one of those. Well, you could wear one of those things. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. There are all kinds of systems now that you can alert. So as you get older, and families, if you're watching this and you have a parent or a friend or a relative who's older and you don't think you're not sure about their health, recommend this to them and say, hey, you need to do this. You need to get something like that so that just tell them we need to be alerted if you fall, or you don't feel well, or you feel like, what if you're out boondocking and you have a heart attack? What if you're just not of good health? And you know that maybe you're coming to the end of your nomad life, your van dwelling world. You can move in with family. You can contact the government and they can find a place for you. Maybe go into the hospital, and there's all kinds of facilities and resources in the hospital itself who will help get you into something. They're all over the country. You can do that. Well, there used to be. I know a lot of resources are being taken over by, we have this migrant moving, men moving into our nation, being let in, that, and they're kicking people out so that they can have a place. Okay, I know that's controversial, but I do mention it. I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem everywhere. And so when it comes to that, I know that used to be there, but you know, the past year, it might not be there anymore. So I'm not sure. You're going to have to just wait and see and try. But you have to have good friends. That's why I say go to Quartzsite so you can meet people and meet friends there. And then travel with them. Join a caravan. If you want to be a nomad, join a caravan. I mean, especially during the winter months, Hawa sponsors caravans. There are caravan leaders, and that you all travel together. Okay? So you need to buddy up. If you're getting more elderly or your health is just starting to go a little bit, you need to start traveling with other people. So as far as where do they go? Well, there's all kinds of scenarios. You can die alone out there in your van. I mean, I know that's sad to say, but it could be reality. I guess they have found people who were dead in their vans. It's not common, but it's been happened. Go live with family. Find the government can find you assisted living. There's really, let's see, what else would it be? Let me know. What else? I can't think of any other scenario. Live with family and friends. Just die. Get assisted living somewhere, somehow. Or, well, I guess the other one is if you have enough money, just go rent a place. Go rent a little studio, something small that you can afford. All of your money might go for rent, but what choice do you have if you can't make it anymore in the nomad world? So now what? And then make sure that you have one of those alert systems and have your phone close by wherever you are. You could fall out there and hit your head on a rock and you don't have your phone. Maybe come to, you're confused, and your phone is way still in your van. I say get yourself a little holder for your phone and carry it with you wherever you are and put your key in there and things like that. Yeah, there you go. So that is a great question. And we all have to think about that. And I think it's good that we look out for each other because I've got something else to tell you. In Quartzsite, I believe it was at Dome Rock. And I don't know a lot of the details, but somebody committed suicide in their van. Okay? Yeah, they did. I'm not sure how it happened. I don't know. Did they shoot themselves? Max is trying to get all the skinny. Maybe you could leave it in comments. But Max is trying to get all the skinny on that because he heard about it too. I was alerted by somebody else. So what a lot of the organizations are doing and the Facebook groups, what they're saying is, look, check on your neighbor. Check on them. Check on what's going on. And so here are my thoughts. That's not always easy. I remember there's times when I was in Quartzsite and it was like early season or late season and I was still there and there weren't that many people there and I would park and I would see, I always am alerted, I am always like sparked by seeing other people in minivans. So I went up to this one guy in a minivan. You could see he exuded this attitude like he didn't want to be bothered. He was one of these recluses and he did not like being around people at all. But I talked to him for a few minutes and you know, but there are people that don't want to be noticed. They don't want to be talked to. They don't want to be bothered. So it's almost impossible to go up to some of these people and look out for them. No, if you are really depressed, and I haven't done major studies on suicide, but one of my friends did say suicide is the ultimate temper tantrum in life, right? It kind of is. You know, when you have a temper tantrum, like you see a child with a temper tantrum, they don't know what they're doing. They're so caught up in this. It's almost like they got so wound up, tighter, bam. There's a temper tantrum. They make just kids lay on the floor screaming. They're not of their right mind, are they? No. They're gone. It's like almost like a brief mental illness, you know. Yeah. So if somebody, because we are wired for survival. We are wired to keep ourselves safe. Our whole being is about surviving. And so for them to want to get rid of themselves, there has to be something that switched off in their brains. They couldn't handle it anymore, whether depression or their mind just went, you know, they didn't want to be here anymore. Well, looking out for other people isn't always the answer, because sometimes those people can be dangerous too. Well, I'm going to you've heard of like murder-suicide. They'll kill you and then shoot themselves. Or how about suicide by cop? Yeah, they'll do something really stupid and just point a gun out at them. And then, you know that the officer's going to shoot them. And it's called suicide by cop. You know, it's really tough on the cops. So, I don't know what the answer is. But let's talk about what are the possibilities of why this person had no more survival in them. They couldn't take it anymore. What I was thinking right off the bat was that they were forced into this lifestyle. And maybe this was their first time in Quartzsite. And they said, are you kidding? What the heck is this all about? This sucks. And they said, I have nowhere to go. This is it for me. I don't even like this. I'm done. And so there's that. I mean, you also have, I do mention this. You also have Lee from Lee and Max. Not me, Lee, and Max. Max and I, we laugh about that. But they were a young couple. He was from Australia and she was American. And they traveled together. They met and traveled together. They had a ProMaster, fixed it up, and traveled together. They had a nice dog. I think it was like a husky or something. Well, things didn't work out for them, and I've talked about the relationship-y thing. Things didn't work out. Things started going bad. But she also had a stalker who was using her material to make money on his YouTube channel, using her material and constantly stalking her, and I think it drove her insane. And that's probably where a lot of their arguments came. And I know that from my relationship with my 3-year partner. His ex-wife stalked me. It created arguments. Well, she couldn't take it anymore. She was young. She couldn't take it anymore. And what did she do? She threw herself in front of a train. This happened about 3-4 years ago. Yeah, it's not that long ago. So, and then of course Max, her boyfriend, went on to keep his channel. I've heard thus he gave up his channel. But, you know, I mean, I always think, I mean, you could have been there to support her. She was really going through a lot. But, you know, if you can't handle it, you can't handle it. But that's one of the reasons. Here's what I'm going to say right now. Because I know that, and I know how that works, and I know how devastating a breakup is. Devastating. It is they say it's one of the worst things humans go through, is a breakup, when they lose a love partner that they're deeply in love with. And that goes for death too, when your partner dies. Well, wouldn't it be better, isn't it better for me to talk about where I'm at with that? I always think about that because I'm older. And I know how to, and I'm a YouTube creator. So my thing, it was right out in the open for the whole world to see. And I don't think that the other Lee that ran in front of the train could handle that. She couldn't deal with that in front of the public. They had a pretty big channel going. So it's better for me to talk about it. I get a lot of my therapy. It's better than jumping in front of a train, isn't it? So we need to understand that being a nomad, and some of these YouTubers might need a little love too out there as nomads. Yeah. And don't just throw your partner away. You know, I mean, a lot of people did go a little bit against Max, and I would never go against my ex-partner. I would never do that because he's so wonderful. But I'm telling you, it's not easy for them either. And I do think about Lee a lot, the other Lee, and how she was gorgeous. Not, you know, there's a lot of ungorgeous people that we should feel sad about too. She had so much going for her. She was very creative. She was a wonderful person, but she was in a bad way, obviously. Survival is there in our hearts. She must have been so torn up. And I don't know whatever happened to the guy. I don't think his channel is still going, because his whole channel revolved around her. Around her. He analyzed her on his videos, and a lot of people watched him. Shame on you for watching crap like that. He was taking her material and using it to make money. And I think she just couldn't get rid of him. She couldn't get him to stop. It was frustrating. And I think it was frustrating for me. I couldn't stop the messages I was getting from his ex-wife. I couldn't stop that. For 3 years, I put up with being called names and made fun of and harassed and said that she was going to come find me and threatening me. And a lot of you said, hey, you need to turn this into authorities. Well, we tried and nothing happened. You can say what you want. I mean, she didn't particularly say, I'm going to hunt you down and shoot you or something like that. But she did say she was going to find me and blah, blah, blah. It's so iffy. You can't, you think there's help out there, but there's not. So she was a nomad and she killed herself. It went so far that she actually just threw herself in front of a train, or somebody, you know, or whatever, take pills or whatever. So We all need to look out for each other, but some people won't say how bad it is. What happened was with Lee was she went and she left, they broke up, and then she went off in her own vehicle and started traveling with this other couple. They were YouTubers too. And so, but she probably felt, I can only imagine what she was going through and the pain and the hurt and the confusion that she was going through. So yeah. It's one of the reasons I talk about my instance and I kind of get it out there. And you've been with me through this and that. You might as well be with me through this, right? And it'll all go ways. And it's almost gone, so don't worry. But yeah, suicide is a big deal, and who knows what that person was thinking. Maybe they were a long-standing nomad and they just couldn't handle it. Maybe, who knows, maybe they broke up. Maybe they broke up with somebody. Maybe they felt like they were so alone. Maybe there was a chemical imbalance in their brain and they became depressed. I don't know. But what happens to aging nomads? There's only a few things. They either die, or their family takes them in, or they find a place through the government, or on their own they go get a place. But it always, three of them equals finding a place, whether it's family, government help, or just on their own. The other one is they just don't make it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because eventually, if it's that bad, they're going to fall and they're going to hurt themselves and they're going to be alone. So, well, this is a real depressing, but it's much needed conversation, I think. Because there are a lot of people out here. I do know, and this is going to go longer because I want to get this out. I do know of a couple. They're not romantic, but they've been together for years traveling. One of them wants romance, the other one doesn't. One of them is dirt poor, and the other one has a good backing. It's the female who's dirt poor, and that in many cases that's what happens. Well, she always needs help. She always needs help. She has to stay in one spot a lot. Her Class C doesn't move very well, so she kind of has to stay, and a lot of times she can get a tow to another spot that in a better climate when the weather changes. Now, this is somebody who probably, when you asked that question, I thought of her. Now, the fella always is there for her, and a lot of times people will go get her food for her, bring her provisions and things like that. She's just a wonderful woman, but she is getting older and she has very little money, very little resources going on. So, yeah, and you can only imagine. I mean, in the end, what's going to happen? You know, in the end, even dragging her RV somewhere isn't going to be enough. You know, eventually the walls are going to come off. Oh, my friend from my video at the Cafe Passe, when I was lonely, he just messaged me. I messaged him and I said, I didn't find anything in the videos. If you watch that, it was about I was lonely and I found an unexpected friend. And I said, well, I'll be looking on the videos and see what you did, you know, where we were just laughing about it. But I messaged him and I said, you know, I never found anything, so I was not pointing it at you at all. So we'll see what he has to say. But it's nice to make friends, isn't it? You have to have, you can't just stay isolated to yourself. That day I felt really isolated, and I really was almost kind of freaking out. Like, it almost makes you feel, it's almost like a pain. Like, I need to be around somebody. I need to talk to somebody. And then that happened, so I'm very grateful for that. But I know how it feels to be lonely. And I bet there's a lot of nomads who are lonely, and it does hurt your health when you're lonely. It does. They say isolation. Maybe this person who killed themselves at Dome Rock in Quartzsite. Dome Rock is an area of BLM, which is Bureau of Land Management. And maybe just there were people all around him, but he felt isolated in his mind. So unisolate yourself, everybody. Yeah. Okay. I would love to have some comments, and I would love to have your thoughts on this. Literally. I would love it. You know, there needs to be more resources out there, and if anybody was going to do it, it would be HAWA, I bet, because it's a nonprofit organization. So, okay. I love you guys so much. You guys give me a lot of interaction too, because I feel you out there. So please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. It really does help when you subscribe. And there's a few glitches going on with YouTube again. Only this is a different one. I don't know what's going on with that, but check to see that you are subscribed, because it had been unsubscribing people. And then you don't get notifications. You don't even know. So I appreciate that. I really, really do. I love you.